All right, guys, we're going to take a look at how to do literal equations. That's rearranging multivariable expressions. Whatever question you get, you're going to write it down. And just like I've discussed in my notes, the very first thing that I want you to do is draw a river. So if you're handing in work and I don't see this river, you are getting a 0. So first thing you're doing is drawing a river. Then you're identifying what it is that you need to get by itself. So you're looking for the word solve for and then a letter. So solve for lowercase n. Now very important, whatever is uppercase stays uppercase, whatever is lowercase stays lowercase. So I'm trying to get this by itself, okay? And just like we did it with numbers, you're now going to do it with variables. It's the exact same thing. So for example, if I had 10 is equal to 2n, okay? Just like we did before, you draw a river. Right, you'd see what the variable is and you'd cover that up. So you see what's bothering it is this 2. And then you'd ask yourself, what's the operation between 2 and n? You'd answer, well, that's multiplication. And then when you cross the river, that multiplication is going to change to division. Okay, so then you'd have n equals 10 divided by 2, which is 5. Same thing here, only with letters. So please don't let these letters confuse you. They're just like numbers. So again, here's my n. I'm covering it up. So RT is bothering the n, right? What is the operation between n and RT? Multiplication, right? So how do I get rid of multiplication? I divide. So when I cross RT, crossing the river, I divide by RT. Okay, that takes that away because when you divide by RT, if it's on the top and on the bottom, it crosses out, leaving n equals capital P, capital V, capital R, and capital T. And now I've isolated the variable to where n equals, and now I'm just typing it in. So PV, so make sure it's capital PV, and then RT. That's it. Okay, so it seems really difficult, but I promise you it isn't. We're going to do a few of these. This one is a number, so I mean, I'm not going to show you how to do this one because I think you can do that one. I'm going to skip that one. As soon as I said that, what did I just do? Solve. Maybe I should do it then. Solve. Where is the question? P equals 4s. P equals 4s. You draw a river. And then I'm solving for what? For s. Okay, so s by itself. So if I cover up the s, I see the 4 is bothering it. What's the operation between 4 and s? Multiplication. So when the 4 crosses over, it's going to change from multiplication to division. Crosses out. So s equals p over 4. I don't know what I put in. I would say p over s. I'm tripping. Clearly I'm tripping. All right. So I have W. I don't care. And listen, I don't care how complicated it gets. I promise you it's so simple. First thing you do is draw my river. Okay, look for solve for, and then it tells you what you're solving for, x. So I want this by itself. So I cover this up. What is bothering that? I've got positive y and positive v. Both of those need to go on the other side, right? So, because this is all separated by addition and subtraction. So I'm going to take the y first to the other side. It crosses the river. What's that going to become? Minus y, because it's positive plus y, right? So that's gone. I take this one to the other side because that's also bothering this x. Plus v goes to this side, becomes minus v. Now that's gone. So only leaving x there. So now I have x equals, and I have, just write it in order. Small w minus y minus v. Okay. So x equals w minus y minus v. Alright, so I'm going to kind of skip over these little ones. Oh, actually, I'm not going to skip over. I'm just going to talk over them and then get to ones that are a little bit harder that I need to write down. So you're solving for r. You're getting r by itself. So you're covering up r. What's bothering it? Minus s. Take the minus s past the river is going to be plus s. So I'm going to have t plus s, all small letters. Okay, so I want to talk through the ones that we don't need to write down. This is just like the first one we did. Solve for v, so I need v on its own. So this is v. What's bothering v? T and s. What's the operation between v and t and s? Multiplication. So t and s cross the river. They're going to change from multiplication to division. So it's going to be u over ts. All right, solve for d. So d by itself. So again, you highlight D. So what's bothering that? Divided by 2, right? Divided by 2 crosses the river. It changes from divided by 2 to multiply by 2. So D equals 2 times R, or 2R. Okay, I'll just write this one down because they all seem to be kind of easy, but I do want to give you a visual. So first thing you do is you draw a river, and then you're solving for V. So V is right here. All right, so you're right there, and you can see that I guess I should do that. U and W are bothering it, and what's the operation of U and W to V? It's multiplication. So when those cross the river, they're going to change from multiplication to division of U and that. Okay, just double checking. If it's on the top and the bottom, they cross out, so that works. So V equals TX over UW. And it looks so weird, and this is why you guys are like thinking it's difficult, but it's really not. It looks really weird, but it's so simple. It's just like you did in numbers, but only now your letters. And just make sure capitals with capitals, lowercase with lowercase. And that's all you're doing over and over again. All right, I'm not writing this one down. I'm just going to talk to it. Solve through W. So here's plus W. So the operation is addition, right? So if there's what I'm covering, I'm moving this away because that's what's bothering. So it's the operation between them is addition. So I'm going to take the addition, cross the river, and it's going to become subtraction. Now that's going to be y minus x. Now these you might have to write down because there's a difference between y minus x and x minus y. So I'm just going to write this one down actually. River, and what am I getting rid of? I'm getting rid of this. So this crosses the river, it becomes minus x. That goes away. So I have W equals. Now I can write it two ways. I can write it as my answer, y minus x, or I can write minus negative x plus y. That is the same thing as y minus x. Because remember, the symbol is attached to that letter, right? So wherever that letter goes, the symbol goes with it. So if you want to put it in the front, it needs to be there. If you want to put it behind, it needs to be there. Okay, so that's a very important distinction. This is not the same as saying x minus y, because now you're saying the symbol with the y is negative, and that's not true. Y is positive. Okay. Oh, this is easy. I'm going to do this one in our head. Solve for W. So here's W. Cover that up. What's bothering it? L. What's the operation between L and W? Multiplication. Multiplication crosses the river and changes to division. So make sure you division. So I'm actually going to write that down too. I don't want to make any confuses. So solve for W, boom. So taking L, dividing by L. What's on top crosses out the bottom, leaving A, L. The problems that I see with you guys, capital A, okay, and then lowercase l. The issue that I see with you guys, and maybe use what they got because it looks different, is usually sometimes instead of you guys saying A over L, you're going to say L over A. Okay, so be careful to make sure you're writing down the work. When you're doing this on your own, you see how I keep asking you, cover it up, what is it doing, what's the opposite of that operation? Move it to the other side. What does it become? Ask yourself those exact questions out loud. It's going to get rid of like all of your mistakes. All right. Oh my God, it's a fraction. Oh my God. Oh my God, guys, I am freaking out right now. It is a fraction. We have got to get rid of this fraction because you guys know that y'all hate fractions. So I say it in class all the time. I'm saying it again. We hate fractions, right? Okay. So golly, before I even draw my river, let's get rid of this fraction. How do we get rid of fractions again? You find the denominator of one of them, not all, just one. All right, so this is the denominator, the bottom number or letter, and you're going to multiply everything by that bottom. So this gets multiplied by r, this gets multiplied by r. Now, because this is all one term, what I mean by that, it's all together, that takes care of everything. If it was separate, like if you had 1 plus st, those are two terms, okay? But 1 st is one term. So these are two terms, and this is one term. So when I multiply there, I've multiplied the term by what I need. What that's going to do is going to give me RQ over here. The top and the bottom are going to cross out, leaving equals 1 ST. Oh, thank God. No fractions. All right, so now I draw my river. Okay. Now I look at the question, and what is the question asking me for? Solve for R. So R. So here's R. So I'm going to block R, right? Block R. So that's Q that's bothering it. And what's the operation between R and Q? Multiplication. So when multiplication crosses the river, it's going to become division, right? And why does that work? Because if it's on the top and the bottom, it gets rid of it. So R equals 1 ST over Q. Now, This is the number 1. Okay, I can say I have 1 ST, or I can say I have ST, right? Because it's the same exact thing. Technically in math, they don't want you to put this invisible 1 on there, so we're just going to put that out. But I'm curious to see if IXL is going to mark you wrong for it. So I'm going to put the 1 in my answer just because I want to know. And oh, it doesn't mark me wrong for it. But I think in our quizzes and stuff, it will mark you wrong. So just have S. If you have 1, invisible 1, just get rid of the invisible 1. All right, solve for A in terms of B and C. Okay, but hold up. Before, oh my God, guys, there's a fraction and we are dying. There's a fraction. All right, so what do we have to do? We have to get rid of this fraction. How do you get rid of this fraction? You multiply everything by the bottom of the fraction. So I'm going to multiply that by A, multiply that by A, and if there was something over here, multiply that by A too. All right, what that does is if there's 1 on the top and 1 on the bottom, it crosses it out. So you have AB equals C. Oh, thank God, guys, there's no more fractions. All right. Now I can breathe, and now I can solve for A. So solving for A, so that means I cover up A, so what's bothering it is B. And what's the operation between A and B? Multiplication. So when I cross the river, when my B crosses the river, it changes from multiplication to division. So again, we're going to check that out. Boom, boom. A equals C over B. So come right here, lowercase c, lowercase b. Okay, just again, please be making sure that you're keeping whether it's uppercase or lowercase separate. All right, y equals w plus x plus z. All right, in terms of z right here. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to get alone. So what's bothering it? W plus x. So draw my river. All right, so the operations between all this is addition, right? So I'm going to move 1 at a time. I'm just going to go from left to right. Move the W to the other side. What's it going to become? It crosses the river, gets weight, changes from positive plus V to minus W. Sorry, I don't know why I said V. W. All right, take this X, move it across the river. What does that change to? From adding X to subtracting X. And both of these are now gone, right? Leaving me with just Z on this side. And then here, I'm just going to write it y minus w minus x. Again, you can write it in any order. You can say negative x minus w plus y, or you can say negative w minus x plus y, or you can say negative w plus y minus x. All of those will be the same answer. Just in terms of the quiz, read the instructions as to how I want you to write it, just so that you can get it right, because there's no way I can put in all the different combinations in your answer. But in IXL, they have that done for you. All right, PV, P, capital V equals small n, capital R, and T. Draw my river. And then what am I looking for? Capital P. So capital P, where is that? Oh, I didn't write a capital P. How about that? Capital P right there. All right, so that's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to cover that up. It's V that's bothering it. What's the operation between P and V? Multiplication. So when that crosses the river, it's going to be division. So dividing. So crosses out. So P equals nRT over V. You see how simple this is? It's just the letters, y'all. The letters just be making y'all think that it's the hardest thing in the world. All right, make sure capitalize it, whatever needs to be capitalized. Oh, this V is a capital V. Oh, I almost got that wrong because I almost put a little v. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Some of these I can now just do since you understand the process. All right, so for F in terms of E and H. So F is what I want on its own. So what's farther than that? H. What's the operation between H and F? Multiplication. Take H across the river. It's going to change from multiplication to what? Division. So I have capital E. And then because the H is what's divided by, right? So divided by little h. All right, I'm looking for C. So here's C. What's bothering it? Negative BD. Now, what's the operation between negative BD and C? It's multiplication. So don't say it's a subtraction because, again, these are all letters together, which means negative B times D times C. So multiplication. So to undo it, I'm going to divide. So I'm going to do negative BD, divide by negative BD, right? So it's going to be little a divide by negative BD. Now, I know you guys have been doing math for a long time. I don't think you've ever seen a negative on the bottom, right? Where do they always put that negative? On the side. But I'm curious as to whether IXL is going to accept this. So just in case you put your negative on the side, like that. That's how you write in an answer. But I'm curious to see if